Hey y'all. I just wanted to share a little bit about my interest in violin setup and DIY lutherie. You can see that these things are, they're fruits of a wild universe, and they're, violins and, everything that goes into them is, made up of wild materials that, developed under, unending, numbers of variables and changes in circumstance and conditions. Where the trees were growing, what the weather was like, the soil, the strains that the wood was under. But then also, once the fiddles were, constructed and then played and passed around, they continue to go through, adjustment and adaptation on a material level, under unending changes in conditions, subtle changes in humidity, temperature, exposure to sunlight, or how often it's played, if they ever sat without strings and tension. And a lot of people like to think that the more a violin is played, the better it sounds, because of all the molecules and atoms in the material adjusting and responding to the vibrations moving through them. And I just think that's so fascinating. So if you ever start messing around with setup on your fiddle, upon asking a lot of questions of people who know what they're doing, and doing as much reading as you can, you'll find that because these elements, the bridge and the sound post, the strings, the tailpiece, are all adjustable. They're not glued in place. They're just held by tension. You can really alter the tone and how the sound feels in your ear. And it behooves a violinist or a fiddler, in my opinion, to find the right combination, the right setup for their particular instrument, and what kind of sound they want to go for. If they want to be loud and projecting and cutting, or if they want to kind of be able to fit in with the rest of the band and not stand out too much. Kind of like, I guess, orchestra violin section players will have more mellow sounding instruments, when a soloist will have, a very cutting, very bright instrument to cut over and stand out. So those types of changes in tone can be achieved by adjusting your setup, adjusting the string length, adjusting how much wood is in the bridge, the position of the sound post relative to the bridge, and of course the types of strings you have on there. Can all those variables, you can dial the type of tone, like you can on an electric guitar with the knobs. You can dial the type of tone you end up with, and of course the range of tone of your instrument is dependent on the craftsmanship of the luthier who set it up, the fiddle itself, the wood that it's made of, whether or not the plates are carved out and graduated enough. And it's just kind of, again, like what you end up with tone wise, aside from the person playing it, really comes down to all these variables that each of them can be adjusted, or can be failed to be accounted for, and you just don't know. You could have a crooked bridge and the fiddle sounds great, but I'd be like, well, a crooked bridge is gonna warp even worse, and we got to keep it straight. But I don't know, like, does the fiddle play well? Does the fiddler like it? And therefore, like, if the outcome is preferable to the player and to the people listening, then leave it. But assume that those elements are still going to continue to shift. That bridge is going to continue to bend as the fiddler messes around with the tuning, as the fiddler takes the fiddle in and out of doors. So, yeah, fascinating. Super duper fascinating. I love this stuff. But anyway, I wanted to demonstrate with Rockingham Cindy how different these two fiddles sound.